I just think you guys work way too hard.
I love it. I've done elementary and I love high school. So.
Well, that's great. But yeah, I do. I think you guys just have to work way too hard at that level.
Yeah, it's okay though.
Good evening.
Hi,
Good evening.
How are you?
I am great. How are you?
Good. I'm out of the Santa business, and so my wife sheared me, so I'm good to go.
Are you back in your hermit location?
No, I'm in Lake Norman right now for this week until Monday. I'll go back into hiding. I've neglected so many things. I've gone to the I'm doing the high risk stuff that you shouldn't do, but I had to. So I've gone to the ophthalmologist and got a pair of glasses so I only have to wear my glasses now when I want to see. So I had to go get a new pair of glasses. And I went to the pulmonologist today, and then I'll go to the regular doctor on Thursday. And so,
Well, I guess those are some high risk things.
Yeah,
but I guess they're also necessary.
It's not good, but you have to do that. And so I'm getting those kinds of things. But other than that, I haven't been anywhere since March.
I know. I'm shocked you're out and about.
Well, again, I had to have a pair of glasses. I'd gotten where I'm just struggling so to see. And then I had to see the pulmonologist first, and then I'm trying to get on the protocol to get a COVID shot at some point this spring. And you have to see the doctor. Otherwise, I'll probably have to wait. I'm hoping to get one in April rather than having to wait till July. And so I'm in such a high risk category, but you got to go visit your doctors first. And
right.
So I had to see the pulmonologist first. And then, but he's not hooked into the vaccine. My doctor with Atrium is hooked into the vaccine. But you have to see the specialist first and then go see him. And then, so they have to, I don't know why they have to confirm that I only have one lung. I mean, that's not real hard to know. So, and so, always fingers crossed, maybe that one's, maybe it's working, but nah. I'm going to try to make a shot in April. I would love to get one so I could come out of hiding. It would be nice.
That would be, yeah.
So what I'm hoping is, hey, Rachel, I'm hoping that we can resume maybe some low-res weekends in the summer if I can get my shot. If not, we'll have to do Zoom weekends as well. And I've got 2 doctoral stat classes this spring, and I'll tell you, it's tough doing your weekends online when you're teaching quantitative, especially parametric statistics. It's really hard. And I've got 2 of them this spring, and I'll have either 1 or 2 this summer. But at some point, I'd like to go back where I can get them, where I can talk them, on a whiteboard. And we try not to overwhelm them with calculus, but there is some that they have to be able to do. And it's so much easier to do that in person than it is through Zoom. I got 1 weekend with them in the spring and January before we had to go offline. And so I did quantitative all weekend with them. I didn't like that. Saturday and Sunday all day. And then I did online only in the summer and in the fall. And I didn't like that either. I've tried breaking it up. I've tried all day. I've tried half days. I've tried half day Saturday, half day Sunday. So this spring, I'm going to do 7 Saturday half days, see how that goes. I mean, you can overwhelm them so easily. And then you just lose them. I mean, you know, and then we use Respondus in Blackboard for them to take tests. And you can tell how they're doing or not doing. You fake it if you can't do it. And that's the hard part for them. And so I'm trying to find a way to make it. They've been very kind. They've been very, you know, the ratings and reviews and scores have been good, but I can tell. I mean, you know, you can tell when their eyes roll back in their head. And so I'm looking forward to maybe by summer, definitely by fall, going back to the low residency weekends where I can actually do more. We still do a lot of stuff online, but particularly the calculus piece is difficult for them when we don't do it live. That's just the way it works. But, you know, the MELS program, we're online anyway, so it hadn't affected us. I mean, everything's been good. We were already there, but it's been difficult for the doctoral students, to say the least, not getting their low-res weekends when they have to do their quantitative class. Been tough. I think we're just waiting on, I'm guessing Hunter's coming. I think he responded that he was.
He did.
And so, yeah. So, Anna, you and Gina will be with me. Doug got knocked out. We had to collapse C10 and C12. They'll be in one class shell, C10, but we'll keep them, and if they collapse them all into one clinical shell, it won't matter because we don't use the clinical shell that the university assigns to you. You'll get a 690, it'll say MELS 698 with some numbers after it. We don't use that shell. The students know that. And the reason why is that work goes away. Those clinical shells have limited functionality and they go away. So what I will do is I emailed Bob today. He's the tasker. He's the Blackboard administrator. He will assign you a clinical shell that I have built and I have access to where I can put your students in it, and it doesn't go away. That will be your shell in perpetuity. So if you coach, when you coach this semester, you'll use that shell. When you coach again, when you're teaching, anytime you coach, you'll have your shell and you can customize it. And it will have the things in it the way that we want them. They're blank and you build them. And I will build them out for you the way that you will need them. I will only put in them what you need for this semester, so as not to confuse you, not confuse the students. I will build those out. Let me do a share screen. So you'll get a Blackboard shell that looks like a class shell. Let me get this out of the way. But it'll only have 4 things in it. These 4 things, I just literally put them in just a few minutes ago. These 4 things. You'll have OMA. There's 2 evidences that your students will do this semester of their evidence artifacts. The OMA, Organizational Management Analysis, and the SCIP. I sent you those tasks and prompts earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I won't speak for Rachel. I'll just speak for me. I don't expect my coach, y'all will be my coaches. I don't expect my coach to do a lot of that. What you won't coach the whole class. What I do is they'll put their work in my shell. I have a class shell. I've also emailed Sandy to get you access to that. Again, this probably won't happen until next Monday. Everybody's on holiday. And so you'll be able to see my shell, and my shell is built out completely. I'll show it to you in a minute. They put their work in my shell. I comment on it. I work with them. If it's beyond what I can do in a short period of time, and if it needs a whole lot of work, I will send them to you for you to help them. That's when they will have access to your clinical shell, and you will work with them more one-on-one. Now, the reason why we train new people in 603 add-on is these are our best students. They've already had all the rough edges knocked off of them in 601. They know the deal. They know how to write an APA 7th edition. They know how task and prompt works. They know how to use the template. They know the score. We do not let them progress to 603 unless they have completed both of their evidences in 601. So they've already done 2. They do 2 this semester. They'll do 2 their last semester. They know the drill. Now, very rarely do we have anybody that I can't just tell them they've left something out and just move on. So, Rachel, how she works with Hunter as her coach, that would be up to her in terms of how much she wants him to be able to do. I particularly don't want my students using the clinical shell with you until I tell them to. You know, this is just too bad. You know, it should have been written in crayon, and I'll just tell them that way. This is that bad. You're going to have to work with your coach on this. And so you say, well, Dale, then what am I going to do? Well, there's 3 parts to the MELS program. We have the classroom piece with all the content, and I do that as the instructor, and I'll call on you from time to time for your opinion, or if you want to add something when we have our weekly classes at 7 on Wednesday night. I do not expect you to have separate coaching sections either. I will do that part. We'll do that on Wednesdays. So we got that piece. We have the task stream piece, which has the evidences, and they're tied. We have them integrated in our class. When we get them ready, they put them in task stream. But we have a third piece in task stream that's separate from their DRF portfolio called their competency folio. And that's what I want you to work specifically on this semester with students, is getting those artifacts. Evidence is a written narrative. That's the APSEL, the APTEL, the OMA, SKIP, CAP, and SILE. But there's artifacts that are generated by the work that they do, either through their evidence work, the 6 evidences, or through their clinical hours. They generate artifacts, things just like you two as principals, you get evaluated, you have evidence artifacts. If we went to the evaluation manual for North Carolina, Gold McGrill manual, you would see, you know, your evidence is a written narrative of what you did. An artifact would be the school improvement plan, the budget, those kinds of things. Well, students do the same thing. As a result of writing up their evidences, there are certain artifacts that they generate, things, pictures, manuals, flyers, those kinds of things. From doing their clinical hours, they generate the same. So if we looked at those, and I sent you examples of these. So if we looked at those, when they do these clinical hours, and this is what if their school is closed, here's what they can do to get their hours. And if their school is open, and if they switch back and forth, if they're open, these are the things that they do to get those 80 hours each semester. Well, these things generate artifacts, and they are linked to one of the 21 competencies in administrative competencies. And so what we want is pictures. We want just a little bit of narrative, tell us what it is, but we want a picture, a document, a screenshot. You know, if you've got an agenda or a sign-in sheet, we want proof. We want an artifact proof of the work that you did. It goes into a competency folio. They've already built it in task stream. That's why we make sure that we don't let you work with these or have you work with them until they're in. They've already got their competency folio started. They keep the same one, and they just put one round of 21 artifacts in it each semester that match up to one of the 21 competencies. That's what we want you doing. And then we've even listed out for them if they by doing their evidence work, when they complete their AppSell, here are the artifacts that they would be expected to generate. An email PLC permission from their principal to form a PLC. They'll have a PLC agenda that they led, PLC minutes, pictures of the PLC. All of those are artifacts. They'll have scores from when they did their data analysis, a total set of those. That's an artifact. Research study abstracts, and then pictures of videos of your action plan presentation. Those are all artifacts that they will have generated from doing the AppSell. They did the AppTell as well. Here are those artifacts. Here are the artifacts that they will generate this semester from doing the OMA and from doing the SKIP. Here are the things that they will generate this semester. So they will have their SACS report, their NC report card, school improvement plan, teacher working condition survey. These are all things that they will generate or have gathered together as a result of the work that we have them do this semester. And they show their competency through these artifacts. That's separate. That's in task stream, but it's separate from their evidences. This is for Kate. Kate says that we have to have proof positive that they actually had a clinical experience, that they actually were doing that clinical internship out there in school. Now we have them keep an internship log of those 80 hours, but it's just telling us what you did. Again, that's an evidence. That's a written summary of what you did. Kate says, no, we got to go beyond that. We've got to have artifacts, just like principals have to have artifacts when they are evaluated. Our candidates must have artifacts as well. So we'll have you work with them. Most importantly, this semester, I'll have you working with them, and you'll be able to review their competency folio of artifacts in task stream. So I have put in a request to have you an account made for you for task stream. Now you may get an email from Watermark task stream to establish your account. And once you've established your account, I will go in and add you as a reviewer so that they can request comments from you on their competency folio. Now, about halfway through the semester, if you'll remind me, I'll add you as an evaluator as well. Now, I don't want you evaluating. Oh, no. But that will allow you to be able to see their evidence work as well. So, but we'll start out with reviewer only, and you'll keep that always with that group until you no longer have them. You may have them again next semester. And so you'll be able to access their competency folio. Now, their competency folio is going to look like this. Let me get out of this.
Hey, Dale, are you recording this?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
When I sent you your email, I sent you a link. If you click on it, this is what a completed competency folio looks like. And you can see the 21 competencies over here on the left. And when they click on that, it tells them what to do. One of these tells them where we expect these three artifacts to come from. One comes from the AppSell, one from the SIOP, one open-ended. And this one has to satisfy a digital learning competency as well. The 18 digital learning competencies, I've integrated them. We don't do them separately. Kate says they must be integrated into the regular 21. So I've already done that. So they tell you quickly what they've loaded, and then here's the actual things that they uploaded. Here's a video. Here's a document. They do PNG, which is a screen grab. They do JPEGs, pictures, those kinds of things. So, for example, let's see if I've got something. Let's see. Okay. thought I had a picture there, but I don't. I don't know where it is. I'm guessing. Let's see, who's this? Let's see what I've got here. I've got a, oh, I had to come get it. Another reason I had to come home, I had to get a new phone.
That's scary.
Yeah, that's not good. We were having problems with that. Let's see. So I don't know where. I don't know how to use this now. All right, let's see. So let's see if this is going to work. Oh, let's see if it worked. Was that me?
I think that was me.
I don't think it worked. But anyway, what we have them do is like pictures that they took, there it comes on their phone. Let's see. That's what I looked like last week.
My favorite.
And so that's proof that and then I've got a couple in my Santa Claus regalia. So I could tell you that I was Santa Claus last week, but we want to see picture proof. And so I could send you some of my Santa photos from, I've got one. Oh, I know who it was. Let me find it right here. I know who it was. And so when was last Wednesday?
I think you should have kept that look.
No, I shed like a goat. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. So this is last week. I was reading to some kids at Polenta Elementary down in Smithfield. And so I was, the elf book, anyway, they have a classroom elf. And so again, that's what I know this is extraneous, but that's what we're talking about, is we want to see visual evidence of the things that they did. That's what goes in that competency folio. Now they'll do a competency analysis for us in task frame, but over in the DRF portfolio where they argue that they met competency, but we're not interested in argument in the competency folio. We want to see it. You can tell us, that you did X, Y, and Z. If you actually did it, there should be some kind of visual proof that you did these things. So that's what we're looking for in that competency folio, is visual proof of the things that they did. And so as you can see, I did, I do Santa Claus, and so that was that. So anyway, so that's kind of a visual that will remind you. So they've already established their portfolio. They've got their DRF portfolio for their evidences, the 6 of them. They have a separate competency folio that they've created that I've given the template they create. And then you will go in and check to make sure that what you see matches that competency, that yes, that is proof that they did that. If they set up a PLC in the app cell, then there should be an email, a screen grab where they requested permission from their principal to set it up. We've got to see that. We want to see those kinds of things as competencies that we want to see proof, visual proof. So that's what you're going to, so what I want you to do is look at the OMA task and prompts and the skip and begin to learn about what they're doing. I've sent you some examples. That's what they'll be working on. I may have you work with them, but we're going to look at that competency folio, that link to it. That's what we're going to have you using. Again, it's over in Task Stream. And when they go in, let me change over to the author view so you can see. When they go in, they have to put in all their AppSell, NapTel, the competency. I'll take care of all that stuff. That's where that is. At the end of their program, they have to upload their competency folio. That's a big one for them at the end. They have to physically move it over here. But it's not here for a reason. They build it separately under folios and web pages. They build their own, and that's what we're talking about that they've done. And here's all the different ones that I built when I do training sessions with students. And they build it, and then they go in and add them into it, and they add these artifacts in. Now, two reasons why we do it separate like this. Number one, Kate says that it has to be separate. Number two, they can publish and share it with prospective employers. And this is a big hit with employers. They love to see what these students did during their clinical internship. And they publish and share, and it emails it just like I sent that one today in a link. Just click on the link and you can see what this potential employee did during their clinical. They've got visual evidence. It's very powerful in the hiring process. So we do it separately so that it just comes as that quick link. And they don't have to read through they don't care about those evidences. They don't want to read those things. They're 100 pages long. Some of them 200 pages long. They don't care about that stuff. They want to see the pictures. They want to see those artifacts. Kate does, as well as prospective employers. And so we pulled it out separately. Now, is it extra work? Yes. I train them how to do this in 601. We have technology nights for a month, once a week on Thursday nights, training the new ones to get them to be able to do all this stuff. But by the time you get them, they know all this stuff already. They're like this. They run and go. But to get through Kate, you got to do this. And if you want to get your students employed, you got to do this. And so this is, we'll talk about it in class. We'll go over it again. We'll review. I'll have you added as a reviewer by then. They'll go in and click on you, and you can go in and review everything that they've done. You can see how up to date some of them may be behind on their competency folio, but that's where I want you to spend the bulk of the time this semester is working those competency folios. Again, we've got it mapped out where they can find their competencies. It's in my teaching shell. You will have access to this in about another week when we come back from break, hopefully. And so you'll have your shell, you'll have access to my shell.
Now, do you assign us which students you want us to coach?
You'll have everybody in your section. So Anna, you have C12 students. Tina, you have the C10 students. You have everybody in that section. And I will put them in your shell so you'll know who you have. They'll be in your shell. Okay. So when you go to your shell, you'll just hit users and groups and it'll tell you what users you've got. You'll know who you've got. I'll put everybody in your shell. Now they'll be all together because that class, those two classes have been collapsed because of numbers. I think we'll have about 23 in that. When they
Fun.
get down, pardon?
I said, that's fun.
Yeah.
23.
Well, you know, I can't throw that on somebody else. I mean, you teach what happens. When I say they've been collapsed, what that means is I'm teaching two classes and Gardner Webb only has to pay for one.
That's right.
And so you get paid by the student. I don't. I get paid by the class, and I have a certain number of classes for my professorship. And so for them, you know, they're always trying to figure out a way to get more out of us and pay us less. And so our class size was 15, and now they've upped it to 20. So when they upped it to 20, if it drops below 12, they can collapse it into another one. So I can have up to 25 now in one class. Now remembering these are 6-hour classes. They're not 3 hours. These are 6 hour, and they're doing 2 evidences each. Most colleges would consider this one class that I'm teaching a full-time load. I'm not only teaching this one, I'm teaching 2 doctoral stat classes. That's just for my professorship at Gardner Webb. They're always trying to figure out how to, you know, cheat you out of another nickel, and see how much they can give you to do without paying you for it. That's the nature of the beast. They can't cut on they refuse to cut on the undergraduate side, but they're losing money hand over fist. You can only cut where people are making money, where you've got clients. And so because we're so popular and have so many, they continue to move our class sizes up and up and up in order to pay less instructors. And so, but the good thing about coaches is we've worked that agreement out where they pay you $150 a student. Now that's not a lot of money. I know that. You make about what, $5,000 when you teach a class, but remember it's 4,500.
Think so.
I think now in the summer they pay. What is it? They pay $5. They pay $5 in the summer sometimes, but about $4,500, something like that, $4,500. But remember, that's actually a 6-hour course, and so you can make pretty good money if you're teaching classes. When you're coaching, say if you got 12 students, that's what, $1,800. And you have to come online with me once a week, then work with your students, but they won't let you teach until you coach. And so, you know, it's a process. And then eventually you'll teach a class or 2, or, you know, like me, 4, if they can get me to teach 4 for free. But they try to get us to teach as many as they can get us to teach, so that they don't have to pay as much.
Dale, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Did I read what you sent today? So these coaches that are coaches in training, so to speak, they will stay for every class, the entire class? Because normally we don't do that, but that's what
I mean. During this first semester, I'd like for the coaches to come from 7 to 8. Like for me, I'm doing mine on Wednesday night. I'd like for them to come at least the first 4 weeks, and then we can talk about it after that, because we'll get through all the housekeeping stuff. We'll introduce the first evidence. We'll get through competency folio. We'll talk about task stream. They'll see how we do the content. After the first 4 weeks, it's just going to be a repeat after that. You've got it. It's just, same stuff, different day after that. First 4 weeks. But yeah, the first 4 weeks, first month, come the first 4 weeks after that, maybe show back up about midterm for 2 or 3 more weeks. The expectation is about 8 of the 16 weeks, the first 4, and then a couple at the end, kind of thing.
Okay.
Is kind of what I'm hoping. No, now the last 2 that I trained, They came every week for the 16 weeks, but that was their choice.
All right. One more question. When I agree, you know, I do the same as far as I review all the work.
Right.
But then once I review it and I may have them do some, you know, simple editing to it, but then they run it by their coach as a final check.
That's fine with me.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay. That seemed to help. Lorna felt like that helped.
Yes.
Because then when she got one that was in trouble, she kind of knew better how to help them. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah. But I hate Hunter's not with us tonight, but now he's going to have to get on those tasks and prompts real quickly and to see what the expectation is.
Right.
I mean, he's going to have to know what the papers are supposed to look like. I sent a couple of examples for the OMA. I mean, we can pull more out of task stream. If you've got some you like from the past, of course, you've got them in previous shells. You can go back and pull them out. If you remember certain students you like what they did,
Right.
I'd pull out 3 or 4 of those for him.
When did we start using the new APA?
Last spring. We've done it for 3 semesters now.
Okay. One of the papers I think was 2017.
It was, but that was just for content.
Okay, good.
That was Amber's. That's what I was talking about. I just pulled that. We used that one for content because it was out of state and they couldn't copy it, but they could see the format.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Amber's, but no, it's written under 6th edition. No, they'll do 7th. They'll do 7th where they write in first person active. When 6th in APA 6, they were doing 3rd person passive. We now use APA 7th, first person active. I did this, I did that, rather than the candidate. So we use APA 7th. They've already been trained in APA 7th. You shouldn't have that problem with them.
Right.
Dr. Dennis did it last semester. The first 2 semesters, we do training sessions at APA from the library. And so Natalie Bishop did it spring and summer. And then Natalie went out on maternity leave. And so we had the dean of the library, Dr. Dennis, do it. She does 2 sessions for us. And she works with them. And then, of course, we have rewritten all the materials in 601 for APA 7.
Okay.
So that's why when you get them, there's no issue with trying to teach them APA. They already know. They've already been through that. So, yes, we added that in, those actual coaching sessions on APA from the library folks.
Okay.
They do 2 sessions and do a great job with them. And so when you see a regular class shell, this is what my class shells will look like this spring. If I can get Blackboard to roll it up here. Okay. So this will be my shell. I've still got 2 right now until it goes away. So you can see everything that we're going to cover every week is already by session, as you can see here. All the drop boxes for their case studies that we're going to do. They'll do 4 case studies. They do one on grading policy. They do one on the Andro and school finance. They do one on LBGTQ, Willie and Jimmy and Willie. And then they do one on inclusion model, on exceptional children. Those are the 4 hot spots right now. So we do those. And so they have 4 case studies. They have all the class content. They have the OMA and the skip. They'll only do 1 peer review of each of the tasks, first 3 tasks of the OMA and skip. I'll handle peer reviewing with them. They do peer review before it ever even comes to the instructor. Now, the peers mostly work on syntax and grammar. The weekly schedule is posted here. Everything that we're going to do every week is already laid out for the entirety of the course. I build all of our shells to QM, Quality Matters standards, and we have everything paced every week, when we're going to meet, what our topics are, the resources that they are to use, the discussion board prompts in terms of what activities they do, locate your school emergency plan, read school law, and then assess your emergency plan for your school, examine your field trip policy, reflect on tort liability, observe student due process, interview an AP or other school disciplinarian, examine a school or district policy on cyberbullying, attend an IEP meeting, interview the chair of your intervention team, learn about MTSS, tell us what you've got in your school, interview an administrator about your HR practices. How do people get hired in your school district? Does your district do all the background, the vetting, like CMS does, and just refer them to you, or are you in a smaller district where you have to do everything? And that speaks to diversity. That's another rant I'll get on during the semester. Facilities walkthrough using an instrument. Interview of an administrator about fundraising. 5 most important steps in school-based budgeting. Talk to your principal. Locate a copy of your school budget. See, there's a lot of coming and going, to and fro, and this is a very active class in terms of yes, they have to do some reading, but they have to follow that up by working out in the building. So all that's in there, all the materials that they need, everything is there, all their handbooks, all the things that I sent you today, those are already in their shell. The course overview has the welcome, has my information. I'll put your information in as well. Grading system, how they get their grades. All the Zoom sessions are already scheduled. The links are the same for each week. I've already done all that. It's already posted in the shell. The town hall for the legacy students, when it'll be. I'll cover everything that they're due to me this semester. Enrollment verification, their books are in here, what to do to start the class. Now, we teach Willie Nelson style. If you know anything about Willie, he sings behind the beat. That's what makes him unique. We teach behind the beat. What that means is these shells will go live to students on Monday, January 4th. They do all the work, they look at the materials, and then when we have class, we cover it after they've already done all this stuff. We don't, it's like when I was an elementary principal, you don't send new work home for homework, you only do reinforcement. When you teach online, you do the same thing. You teach behind the beat instead of in front of the beat. And so they'll have they get their shell on Monday the 4th, and they're told what to do. And then the following, when we meet with them the next week, they've already done the first week activity. And then we cover that and cover material and go, and that's the way this works. We're behind the beat always. That's the key, that's the secret to online teaching. The reason why so many people, whether they're using Blackboard or Canvas or whatever, number one, they don't know how to use their platform. They didn't go through, what you've learned in Blackboard, then the next level is how do you learn to build a shell, put all the things in there, make it user-friendly, where everything just kind of falls down the line. You've got to learn that. But the biggest trick is you move from the sage on the stage to the guide on the side when you teach online, remembering that you're behind the beat. They've already seen it. They've already done it. You're going over that with them after they have gone out and done that. You cover and clarify for them, but they've already been introduced to it when you get to class time. And so it's all scheduled. It's all there. They just follow the process. We're with them every week. We answer questions. We cover materials. We share examples of what we do. I'll just off the cuff call on you if you're there. If you're not paying attention, then, you know, that's just the way it goes. But I'll call on you to, you know, to add, or, you know, to throw your 2 cents worth in there. But they've got all the materials. They know what evidence is. They've been trained in APA. It's a very involved system because we're doing classwork, we're doing clinical work, we're doing evidence work, we're satisfying the college for course credit, DPI for clinical hours, and clinical experience, CAPE for competency, and those things. We have all these different people that we have to satisfy, and we don't want any of them to fall through the cracks. So yes, it's a lot. I don't expect you to learn it tomorrow, but if you can learn how the evidence process works, how the competency folio works, and how to use a Blackboard shell, I'll link. Now, what I'm going to do, I'll show you. I'm going to clean these up, and they'll be assigned to you. Let me share my screen again so I can get back to Blackboard. And so again, everything's in here, the syllabus, you know, everything is linked to Grade Center. And so up here in the top right of your Blackboard screen, when you come in, it's going to tell you how many things have come in. As you can see, I don't have anything right now, but it will tell you what's come in. You'll get a notification, or when you go to your shell, even if you don't pay attention to that, when you go to your shell, and we'll go back to the one that I was working in. Your shell under Grade Center needs grading will tell you anything your students have put in your shell for you to review if they're linked to the Grade Center. I'm going to go in and build you these 4 boxes that will be linked to your Grade Center. So all you got to do, you don't have to go hunt their work. You click on one button, what needs grading, and it'll pop right up. And you click on the first one and you just start. It's really, it's all, but now I'll have to link them now. What I'm going to have is 4 boxes, as you can see right here. OMA tasks for review, public and private, and the same for the skip. Now what that means is, if we haven't put it in discussion board, every student in the shell can see their work. And some of them, that's embarrassing for them. Now we can put it in Dropbox and it's private, but I can link, and then we'll link both of these to your Grade Center, so that just click on needs grading. But it gets a little bit involved on how to do that, but that's what we'll do. But down here under users and groups, you just hit the users button, and I'm the only person in your shell right now. But I will go in as soon as all students are registered later this week. It may be next week when they get them registered. But by the time you get your course, these shells, all of these will be built out, and it'll have your students already in there. I get to do that. Find users to enroll. I can enroll and unenroll students out of these shells. And I can build these boxes. So under OMA task for review public, that means this is going to be linked to discussion board, and everybody can see this. And so I'm going to come under discussion board, and I'm going to create a new forum, and I'm going to do OMA task 1 for clinical coach review, and I'm going to link it to the Grade Center and make it worth 100 points. And I'm going to allow them to delete their own post. If you don't, they'll worry you to death. All posts. And then I am going to submit that. And so, as you can see, public, discussions, it will be there. And so I'll go in and put all these in for you is what I'm saying. And so now if they want to go private, if they don't want anybody to see their work, I'll have to do an assignment. Again, same thing. Clinical coach review. I will link it to the grade center, and I will make attempts unlimited, so they can put it in as many times as you want to work with them. I'll do it that way, and then we'll submit that. And there it is. And so when they click on that, tells them 100 points possible, and they just browse my computer and attach the file. It was a Word document, and you can grade their work, but only you can see it. Their peers can't see it that way. And they can decide whether they want to do it public or private. And I will have those linked in your grade center so that it's really easy. I keep mine cleaned out up here, and that's a bigger deal than you think, because every time anybody in MELS puts anything in, and every time course copy, I'll have literally thousands of entries, and I have to go in and delete them one by one. So when I did course copies for all the courses for the spring, I had 10 or 12,000 entries, and I had to go in and take them all out one at a time. But when I crank up Blackboard every morning at between 6 and 7 o'clock, I can see what came in since I shut down at 11. I work morning and night to keep mine up. And that leads me to the last thing as I'm watching our time.
Dale, I just got an email from Hunter. His grandmother passed at 6:15 today.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And he was with her, so.
Not good. I tell you.
It was very unexpected, he said.
It's been a tough season.
Yes, it has.
You know, Lane lost her sister on Christmas Eve. Lane Wesson at work, she's our head of our elementary. Ed, Dr. Lane Wesson. Lane lost her sister on New Year's Eve. Jeff lost his brother, Jeff Hamilton, to COVID. Both of them. I lost my mother in April to COVID. So we've had three. Nita Sanders lost her mother.
That's right.
So we've had two siblings and two mothers just among our 13 on the main campus in Gardner Webb. We've lost two siblings and two mothers to COVID. That's 4 to COVID that we've had, plus all the others. So it's been a tough time. You know, my doctoral class, we were doing case studies on Thursday night, and one of my students, Kim, her husband had a heart attack and died during class while we were online. Yeah.
I didn't
Come back from that one quickly. Mm-hmm. We were doing case studies on Thursday night, preparing for our weekend class. So we had to cancel class that weekend. He wasn't but 48, African-American myocarditis, and he'd had COVID, hadn't had a particularly bad case of it, got over it and went on and she rushed in the emergency room while we were having class, and he died later that night. So we lost him. So we had to cancel class that weekend. That was not good, but not as bad as losing your husband at 48. We've lost so many parents and grandparents of our students. It's been just unbelievable. But I hate that for Hunter. Well, I'll conclude here with, I don't expect you to do what I do, but I get up every morning and I grade Blackboard. And then I grade every night in Blackboard. And that way I can stay ahead of what's going on. I mean, there's a lot of tasks coming in. Like I say, I'll have about 23 in this, one class. And so that'll be 23 task ones coming in all about the same time, and it'll just snow you under. And so, but the good thing is, I won't send a lot of that. I'll send you some work so that you can get the hang of it. But the trick is just make sure you check, your email, your Gardner Webb account. I send it to your private account, your work account, and Gardner Webb. I'll just start sending things to Gardner Webb. Check your Gardner Webb account at least once a day, and check Blackboard once a day. And if you check your Gardner Webb email account, when you get a comment request to look at a competency folio, you'll get an email. I'll set it up. So you'll get an email to your Gardner Webb account telling you that you need to go to TaskStream and review that and review that for comment in TaskStream, that folio. Now you can go to TaskStream every day and just check what's there. But it will save you time just to check your Gardner Webb email and when a comment request comes in. Now, we like to comment and we like to turn stuff around in 24 hours. Now, I turn mine around in 12, but that's just a different story for me. The problem with being in charge is you have to be the good example, which is not really my thing, but I do the best I can. But we like to turn everything over nothing longer than 24 hours. We like to turn work around in 12 if we can, like I do morning and night. But if y'all are working people, if you get up in the morning early and do it, or if you do it late at night, either way, one time a day. But if you can check Blackboard and TaskStream through your email, and again, you won't have to go to TaskStream if you don't get that notification. You're not doing evaluation is done separately. We pay people, evaluation is double blind. Again, Gardner Webb's cheap to keep from having to have inter-rater reliability, to pay 2 people to evaluate. They only pay 1 and do it double blind, and then I have to go in and do a certain percentage, evaluate them for inter-rater reliability. I have to do like 30% at random. I pick different ones from each of the 6 evidences, and I go in like 1 a day. I'll go in and pop in and do an evaluation. That's for inter-rater reliability. We initially paid 2 evaluators, but they don't want to do that now. So the 1 evaluator that we have, the formal evaluation, is double blind. They're straight state trained. The student doesn't know who they are. They don't know who the student is. The evaluators do not coach or teach those students. It has to be a true double blind. And so you're not involved in that. I will give you evaluator access eventually so you can go in and look at those portfolios, but not for you to evaluate them. Now, there's some other little things in their DRF portfolio besides those 6 evidences. There's some other things like competency analysis and disposition, and eventually their internship log and their competency folio. I evaluate all of those myself. I'm asked to recommend these people for a license. I'm also I write the letters, and so I evaluate all of that in their as we go. I do all of those. So yes, I have to go into TaskStream twice a day as well, keep up with all that stuff. But just regular professorship deal, you would go into Blackboard once a day, and you would go into TaskStream when you got an email notice that you had something for you to go and see. Now, Blackboard does not send you an email notice. You just simply have to click it. But you can, again, if you keep your mailbox, if you keep it your cache cleaned out, you can see if anything came in. And if there's not a little number in red up there, then you don't have to bother to go in. And so there's tricks to the trade on how to not have to spend a whole lot of time. And, one of the things that we do, and students don't like it, but, I didn't like it when my hair fell out either. I do a customized set of responses to their discussion board posts that reminds them what was important in terms of that week's activity, what the takeaway was. And I have all of those, and I just copy. Again, that makes it faster for me. I know, obviously, we've memorized the rubrics. We know what each task is supposed to have in it. When I look at their task, I won't do syntax or grammar, and I tell them that. That's your peers can do that. I'm looking for the big pieces. I just tell them if something is missing. But again, I have standardized responses on those as well. And so there's tricks to how to make things go faster. I wouldn't recommend doing that in the beginning because you need to read things through a little more thoroughly and kind of figure it out. But share screen. Share. Let me go here. You can do it. Let's see what I'm looking for. So what I do, and I customize it every semester, kind of, for the first week. Let me move that out of the way. Here we go. So this is the one I use in the summer and fall. And so some takeaways, I have them already customized. Now, remembering this was a doctoral group of add-ons, and theirs are put together and the summers are put together. There's 16 of these in the regular semester. But here's the main thing. Here's responses back to, like on the skip, the thing they miss the most commonly in task 1 is their short and long-term goals will only be short-term goals. That's a common thing that they miss. So I've already got that response where I don't have to sit and type it out every time, and then, I've gotten all of these. I create a document every semester, and so what that tells me is I've got to do a better job when I teach them skip task 1. I've got to do a better job explaining the difference between a short and long-term goal. And so, but I have customized responses to all the discussion boards. I have customized responses to all of the different tasks, so that I can go faster. But I don't like, okay, good, and just move on. Now, when I grade it, that's all I do. But when I'm giving feedback, it needs to be like on a weekly activity. Here's the takeaways. Here are the things that you should have gotten from what we have you do. They appreciate that. They like that. And if I'm seeing the common thing, like they're missing the difference between the short and long-term goal on the skip, I better go back and reteach that. That was on me. When they do skip, what they're trying to do is they do a needs assessments on gaps in communication with their parents and community. It's only gaps in communication. It's not a needs assessment academic, but we're not on that. It's just gaps in communication. And then there's that short-term goals. Short-term goals are things like an Instagram account, a Facebook page, using social media to better connect with parents. That's the short-term goal. Now, once you've got them hooked and once you're connected, a long-term goal would be like family math night or family reading night. utilize that new connection that you built with them to do something of an academic nature. That's a long-term goal. And see, a lot of times they'll miss that part. I mean, what we explain to them is in the skip, just having parents on your campus won't help you. It has to be academic events that they're there for. Help us help you help your child is basically what we're trying to get them to understand is, Anna, think about the years that, the 10 years that Independence was winning state football titles when they had 40,000 people down in Mint Hill on Friday night. But it didn't make their test scores go up. You got to get them there for the right reasons. That's what you're trying to teach them, is once you have communicated and hooked and you're now got parents involved, it's the next piece that counts. What are you going to do now, hero? Just communicating back and forth won't change a thing. Okay, now that we've got them, we're going to have family math night. We're going to do manipulatives, or we're going to do a career fair or something. We're going to utilize that new communication avenue that we've built to help us with our academic success. Now, I've explained that 1,000 times, and some of them get it and sometimes they don't. But that's one of the things that I'll really have to hammer home is that we have a lot of students who think that it's a good thing to have parents come to school and that's going to make a difference. No, not if they just come into the talent show or ball game. I tell them all the time, if all we needed to do is get parents to come to school for it to be successful, in the western part of the state, we'd have a womanless wedding. And in the Piedmont, we'd have a barbecue. And in eastern North Carolina, we'd have a donkey basketball game. And we'd kill our test scores every year. But that's not how it works. Just getting parents to come to your building won't change a thing. It's what you do with them, what you get them. And that's what we try to get them over the hump with the skip in terms of working with community and working with parents, is there has to be content. And you'd be amazed at how many folks that have taught for 20 years that have an advanced degree that are in this add-on licensure program and don't understand. They think that just getting parents to come to your building will automatically make your scores go up. And we have to explain to them, no, there has to be a method to your madness. There has to be content. Every semester in every one of these evidences, we kind of unveil a truth about the business that a lot of people have missed. In the first one, we get to the truth that, you have to be intentional about test scores. That teaching to the test is not a bad thing. That, I tell them the first night, you'll be invited to the first town hall for the new students the first night. And I tell them the first night, if you're one of those people that thinks that standardized test scores are bad and if they don't reflect what kids know, you may be right, but get out of this program tonight. We'll give you your money back. We don't take stupid people. We're not working for stupid people. We don't have the time. I'm too old to work with idiots. Test scores matter. That's why we keep score. That's why you have a report card. And some of them that hurts their feelings, and some of them they just can't believe that we'd be that intentional, but we'd be that Machiavellian, that we'd be that hard and crass about scores. Well, sorry, that's the nature of the business. In the APTEL, they learned that all teachers aren't good, and that they aren't all doing the best that they can. Some of them don't actually do what they're told to do and use best practice in their classroom. Some of them they have a hard time understanding that. Well, why wouldn't they do that? They do walkthroughs and they can't believe that they're in there, playing grab ass the whole time. Well, sorry. It's all about, I hated to shatter your illusions here. Well, when we get them in the OMA, a lot of them understand that their school's not following the law, that their master schedule is not helping them any, that their master schedule and their budget is a triangle. The master schedule and the budget have to support the school improvement plan. It's all about test scores. They're just not that, they just can't be that competitive. Well, then you don't need to be in this business. And the thing that they have to learn in the skip, when we pull the curtain back for them to see is we're not communicating with these parents because we like them. We're trying to get them there and then put some content with them to get them to help us with their child. You know, about half the time, what we'd like to say to these parents is your kid's an idiot and it's hereditary. But you can't say that. You got to try to work with parents and get them better. And that's what we're trying to do in the skip, is we're trying to get parents better. That's the kernel of truth that a lot of these folks don't know, is that there's a reason why Johnny's dumb. That's because his mom and daddy are dumb. And we're trying to help them. And then we get to the CAP, just to be quite honest, the CAP is all about trying to get our TWC, our teacher working condition scores up, so that the central offices get off our ass about it. That's exactly what we're trying to do. We're being intentional about those scores and trying to make them better. Yes, it'll make a better experience for the people who work there and go to school there as well, but also we need to get those scores up so they'll leave us alone from the central office. And then when we get all these, we put them all together in the 6 evidence, and this is how you build a school improvement plan. Before you knew it, you learned something new. You've learned how to build a school improvement plan that will actually work, and that you can do well in the business. But yes, we have people that every semester, they don't know why we're doing what we're doing. And that's why they don't understand the difference between a short-term goal and a long-term goal. It's because they're naive. And that's part of what we have to kind of beat that out of them and change them. We call it changing their lens. And we tell them that from night one, we're going to change your lens from that of a teacher. You know the business from that side, but it's a different view from the other side of the desk. And that's our job, is to change your lens. By the time you get through, we tell them all the time, just like Tom Hanks said in A League of Their Own, there's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in school administration. We're going to teach you what the real deal is, and if you decide this is not for you, that's fine. Then we've done our job. But we are trying to prepare you for the real world so that you can be successful. Now, and we tell them, we're not preparing you to work in some little small district where everybody's your cousin or your uncle. We're going to prepare you to work in Charlotte or Greenville or the big places where it's only performance based. If you either get good or get gone. And if that's not for you, then we'll part friends and we'll wish you well. But we have to be grown-ups here, and we have critical conversations. What Ron Thompson used to call "come to Jesus" meetings. We have those quite often about you got to grow up. You got to understand. You can't be soft. We want you to be kind. We want all those things, but you got to understand that this is a business, and it's very, very cutthroat business. And you can't just stand around and hope that your scores are going to come in every year. Hope is not a plan. We teach you how to plan for scores and how to go and get them, and how to excel at student performance. We are very performance oriented. And if you want to stay in the business, you have to. It's just that simple. It's a lot to digest. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of pieces. But don't worry. It'll grow and it'll evolve. As I said, I have by next Monday, what I'm hoping is Sandy will have you access to my shelves, and Hunter will have access to yours, Rachel. I hope. Okay. We'll try to follow up with him and see if he can still do this semester. This may be an issue for him. Wendy will get you in a TaskStream account, and then I will, I'm the backup on TaskStream. I've got to quit learning all this stuff. And so I will go in, I do all the MELS TaskStream stuff, so because it's more than half of School of Ed. We're more than everybody else combined. So in order to decrease the load on Wendy, I do our own. And so I'll go in and build our DRS for our new students, and I will assign you inside of TaskStream. It's a whole lot more involved than Blackboard, unfortunately. And so, but I've got Wendy trained, and she's doing everybody except for MELS now. So I had to be, when Seth left in the spring, I had to be the TaskStream coordinator for 4 or 5 months. So I got her where she's doing that now. So I don't mind helping her. I just didn't like it when that was just me. And Bob will get your clinical shells. I'll have them built out for you. I'll clean out Things you don't need, they'll be yours. And so you'll have your clinical shell that we'll send students to. I'll put the students in them. You'll have your task stream account. You'll have access to your students once they request comments for you. I'll eventually give you evaluation so you can go in and look at all their portfolio work. And so I think that's pretty much it. Grind it out on those, look at that clinical handbook. It kind of explains the process. I sent you the MELS handbook. Look at those tasks and prompts for the OMA and SCIP. Read what they are. Look at the examples. As soon as Sandy gets you access to my shell, I will send both of you, and I'll send it to Hunter as well. Let me write myself a note. I'll send you the weekly activities that are in discussion board. Did I already send y'all the weekly schedule?
Yes.
So if you look at the weekly schedule, you'll see that. So I don't have to do that. So the weekly schedule's got what they have to do every week in it. You can look at that. And so it's a lot. But remember, this is actually a double course. It's actually 8 credit hours. It's 2 3-hour courses, law and finance, and it's the 2-hour course for clinical, because they're doing 2 evidences. So this is 8. This is a full-time load for a graduate student. It's what, 9 hours? This is 8 hours that they're doing. We call it one course, but it's actually 2.5 courses that they're doing this semester. We consolidated all of it. We used to do it in 3-hour and 2-hour, but we don't do that anymore. So we put it together. It's in an 8-hour block for them. So it's more than just one course. You say, gosh, this is a lot of stuff, but it's actually 2.5 courses though. It's a full time. It's 8 credit hours that they're doing. And so, and no, Garden Web doesn't pay you enough at $150 a student.
But it's rewarding.
Yeah, it is rewarding.
It is very rewarding.
Our students, our students are great. They're so grateful and thankful. We did our little ceremony for our add-on licensures on, what was it, the 11th or 12th of December, that Saturday, and we had 5 student speakers, how it's changed their lives and their careers and all those things. They send us the most wonderful stuff.
And if you keep the first paper you grade, and then at the end of the semester you compare it to what they do in the SCIP, it'll just blow your mind, the difference.
Yeah. What they're able to do in terms of how they grow and how they, let's see, let me get out of that, how they progress over the time that you have them. But they are so kind. Let's see. I'm having a senior moment here. Oh, Lisa, I'm looking for Lisa. As you can see, Garden Web uses Outlook with stacks, which is so aggravating. So you can see our department averages 3.79 out of 4 in terms of feedback from our students, which is world class. Instructor has a great personality, provides timely positive feedback. He's great. No suggestions for improvement. Do an amazing job of treating your students as professionals and equals. Incredible job keeping his students informed. Zoom sessions were informative, gave us clear expectations for our keep providing templates, guidelines, helpful hints to assist with the evidences. Explains all tasks and prompt. He's on spot. Welcome to all ideas, questions, conversations, down to earth, easy to communicate. So encouraging. I mean, they just write the nicest things about all of us. So, you know, as I tell folks all the time, for my part, if you fake sincerity, you got it made. Pushes us, is encouraging. They all comment on, they love feedback. They want that feedback. 391, they want that feedback. 40 for Robinson, goes above and beyond, completing assignments, honored to be in her class. Case studies are intriguing, provide real life scenario. That's me. I don't read it. That's about me. They love the case studies. They love them. They love to argue. They love the case studies. They love the stories. You know, they just, you know, Laws worked with us last semester, me and him do a doctoral add-on. They even said nice things about him. I mean, he got a teaching award for the first time in his career, teaching with us. But again, Dr. Revis, I mean, you know, they've been so kind. They are so kind and so appreciative. And the program, because it's so well laid out, they really like that. You know, Phyllis, 40, Jackie, they love her. Barbara got a 40, they loved her. Wonderful comment. Sarah, 40, Terry, Rachel that's with us tonight, wonderful comments. 385, everything, all positive. So you have a lot to live up to. We expect a 385, 385, you know, 39. We expect those every semester. Now, I'm not going to tell you that everybody at the university cares about teaching. I don't understand that. It's teaching college, but now it matters to us. And I read every one of those comments and we work on those things. The biggie is turn the work around quickly. Communicate with your students. Tell them the truth. You don't have to be as brutal as I am, but you got to tell them the truth. They're adults. You can't sugarcoat it and, you know, oh, honey, baby, please, and it'll be fine. You need to tell them the truth. You need to communicate with them often. You need to turn their work around. We have a reputation. We do personal service at Gardner Webb. We do customer service. You can go anywhere and get this, and you can get it cheaper at a lot of places. We provide, you know, the client experience, customer service. That's what we do. That's the difference between us and other places. We come online every week. We're live. We don't do any recorded. We don't ever just post videos, watch this video of me lecturing to you for 55 minutes. We do not do that. We're live every time. It's a new class every time. We take their calls. We take their emails. We respond to them. We turn their work over within 24 hours. That's what they're paying us for. And they'll tell you that's the reputation. That's why we came. That you will work with us, you'll get us through. That, you know, our portfolio will be great. You know, we'll be able to pass the praxis in South Carolina, or just like the doctoral add-ons that we have from EDCI, they have to take the praxis in North Carolina for that license, but it's the administrative praxis. Figure that one out. They still have to take 5412. Well, when they went through the EDCI doctoral program, they couldn't pass the 5412 administrative praxis. You know, as crazy as it sounds, to get your license for a school administrator in North Carolina, you have to do the task stream portfolio. You don't have to take 5412. You do in South Carolina. But if you want your EDCI, your curriculum instruction license, you have to take 5412. So Laws and I do a 12-hour block We have an egg a 12-hour block of recent doctoral graduates from EDCI. We do that. We did it 3 semesters in a row, then we set out. So now we just do it every fall, where we take doctoral graduates and do this with them so they can pass the praxis. And so people don't like paying you $6,000 for a 12-hour course block to get their administrative license unless they can pass the praxis. They're paying for that on top of the $50,000 or $35,000 they just paid for their doctor. They're paying an additional $6,000 for us to work with them for 12 credit hours. And so the South Carolina people, they've got to take that praxis. Some of the North Carolina people do, and they all, you know, they understand that they're paying us for a reason. They can go to Western Governors and just do it on their own if they want to, but they can't pass the praxis. And they can't get their clinical hours. They can't get their license without their clinical hours. They don't offer that at Western Governors. You can go to one of the state's schools, but then you got to go to class at night. And they can't do that. They live too far. They can't travel. They've got families. They don't want to travel at nights to go to a face-to-face class. There's a reason why they came to us. The convenience, it's online, and we produce results. And so, but that's not incidental or accidental. It's hard work. And I've said this before. There's a reason why we finally beat Carolina for the #1 spot in North Carolina after all these years. We just outworked them. Just that simple. Of course, they had to hire me from Carolina to beat Carolina. I will say that. But that's egomaniacal, isn't it? No, but our folks work hard. They really do. They really.
But we work happy.
We're a happy bunch. You don't know much. You tend to be pretty happy. And so, but it's a good group. We meet on Mondays every week for the first 3 or 4 weeks of the semester. We'll meet this coming Monday on the 4th to try to make sure everybody's shells are good and that they all showed up on Monday. So we'll meet Monday the 4th. We'll meet the next Monday the 11th, the 18th, and probably the 25th. And then after that, we'll meet every other Monday. We meet Mondays at 6. Got problems, got issues. We all 30 minutes or less each time. It's we follow up, make sure everything is good. Whatever I've missed that y'all need to have. Now, we're a large faculty. The MELS faculty is bigger than the rest of the School of Ed combined. But that's because we have so many students. We've got 31 active faculty. Now we'll have 34 just in this program. But we've got hundreds of students. We'll take in 100 and right now it looks like about 140 new ones just this spring. We run a boutique program, personal services, but we run it as the largest by far in North and South Carolina. There's a reason why we're the largest. Is if you've got a better mousetrap, people will be the path to your door. So we're expecting 140 new ones this spring. I've already had to do the stipend report and put them all in, assign them to everybody, instructor, both coaches, the visitor coach, your coach, the evaluator. I've already had to do all that, create the sections. I had to put them in. We won't put them in task stream until the drop ad because the $159 license fee for each one of them for task stream. But I've got the DRFs already built. So, it's a large program with a lot of people. And it's like owning a printing press for the university. I wish they wouldn't be so cheap, but they are. You can't cut people that don't have students, so they just always try to figure out a way to sharp pencil us because we make so much money and every dollar they can save just goes right straight to the bottom line. So you can in a program that has 34 people and has 17 or 18 instructors every semester or more, you can cut one here or there. When you've only got 2 classes, it's kind of hard to cut one of them. But if you've got 17 or 18, just like we have in the spring, that sounds but that sounds like $5,000. That 17 or 18 sounds like $5,000 to them. And so that's part of it too.
Quick question. I see also on Monday the 4th, you said, is that for all of us?
6 o'clock.
Okay.
And if you can't come, I record them. We have, half to 2/3.
You send us a Zoom invite for that?
Yep. I send you a Zoom invite for that. And if there's any agenda items, I send them. Otherwise, we meet. Now, again, what we'll meet that day is to make sure that everybody has their Blackboard shell and that that it was available to students. There wasn't any, they didn't get any feedback during the day that I can't get in or any of that. Because students know that that day the shells open up for them on the 4th. And we'll make sure that everybody, was there any problems with that? With your shell, you go back to quickly. When they say, well, I don't know if my shells or not, so what I'll have them do, share screen, on that day is, move that out of the way. Under Blackboard, they have this toolbar. Did they teach you quickly when they trained you for Blackboard? Did they teach you about quickly? Probably not. Quickly is a quick link system that has, like, you can send a class email directly from here. But under course availability, you see I've already got all mine turned on because I've already got all mine built out. But sometimes they'll be turned off here. And so you can send emails, you can send announcements to your class, you can email other instructors, or you can actually even go in and see what needs grading in any of your classes. You can go just a quick shortcut. And so sometimes when they make courses available, they get turned off here. And so we'll check that on Monday, the 4th. We'll make sure that everybody's course is available. The update on the bubble courses that made or didn't make, make sure everybody's where they need to be. All the final assignments for spring on the schedule. Any questions, any problems, we'll try to do a semi-final CC1. Y'all are clinical coach 2. Y'all work directly with students. Clinical coach 1 makes the physical visit to their school. Can't do that during COVID, so we're having to do Zooms. But when COVID restrictions are lifted, we'll go back. We actually physically visit their school within the first 3 weeks of them being new with us. We're required to do that to make sure that they're actually real and that somebody's there is working with them. And so we divide those up by zip code according to where people live. Now, those of you who work full time, that'd be Anna, you and Gina and Hunter, you won't be expected to be CC1s right now, but if and when you retire, I mean, I've got 7. I think Steve, even the full-time people, we pull them. I do upstate of South Carolina and the far west up to the top of the mountain, and then Kathy Revis does the top of the mountain all the way out to Clay, out to Cherokee, out that way. I do like Rutherford and Polk. She picks up with Hendersonville when you get to the top of the mountain on 26. But I do Rutherford, Polk. I do Spartanburg and Cherokee. That's Spartanburg, Gaffney. I do Greenville. She does Greenville, Anderson, because she's got a home in Anderson. But I do those counties. And then according to where you live, we divide those up. Now, it doesn't matter as long as we're still doing Zooms. But when we go back to visiting again, we have a script. I'll go over that script, and the script changes a little bit from semester to semester. We meet with the principal and the candidate in their school or on Zoom. So we'll cover that. On the 11th, when we meet, we'll have a finalized go or no go on all classes, everything, any problems that have come up, 10, 15-minute meeting, how's everybody doing? Then the following week, we'll talk about task stream, the accounts are coming. And then the 4th week, is everything up and running? That's 2 weeks into the semester. Is everything up and running? Is everything good? And then we'll go every other week, whatever topics. If there's something that I can't see any reason, I'll just cancel. But we generally meet every other week. But it just gives us a chance for 30 minutes on Monday evening. If there's anything that we need to be doing that I've missed, to make sure that we'll set the dates for the end of the semester for the completing students, the master's students as well. We run the master's program with this one. We don't have as many students in the master's as we do the add-on, but we have town halls, what's due, when your dates are, the drop dead dates, when work has to be turned in, when your portfolio has to be done. We do all that stuff. We set and look at dates, but the faculty decides a lot of that stuff. Or I decide and tell them, and they say, yeah, it works, or no, it doesn't. But we have a lot of moving parts. We have a lot of pieces. We have a lot of folks. We have a lot of folks. And we're scattered all over 2 states. And so it's a way for us to connect and get back together on a fairly basis. But hopefully I won't be as long-winded as tonight. Other questions that you have? It's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. All right. Anna, how's Mark doing?
Have you talked to him?
About a week and a half ago. Right.
Did he tell you the latest news?
Well, latest is he's got, what is it? He's got Parkinson's.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate that.
Just another bit of evidence that, things are just not right in the world.
Yeah, I know. It's just, he just can't seem to get going again. My buddy
No.
Phil in Charlotte, I didn't know it. He's got, I'm sorry, I can't remember the specific name of it, but got cancer that gets in the tube going to your kidney, right when Mark had his, that same thing. He had his went from his was on the bottom side of his kidney and went to his testicle, and they had to remove the testicle and that tumor. Well, the one on the top side of that kidney, when you have one on the top, it has a different name, but my buddy Phil that lives not far from where Mark does, he's got that one. His is on the upper tube rather than the lower tube of his kidney.
Did he work for CMS? Because I think it's related.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, Phil didn't work for CMS, but he worked in a lot of places very similar in terms of old buildings with asbestos.
Well, I was thinking just stress that your body goes through. It can do strange things.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, Phil's is on the other side. But yeah, a lot of old buildings. If you worked in old buildings, like Mark worked at Berry Hill, that's but that's another story. But yeah, I've talked to him about 10 days ago. I hadn't talked to him since the holidays.
Okay.
But yeah, I hate that. It's just one thing after another. All right, y'all call, email, let me know again. Look at this stuff, and then we'll meet. I'll send you the invite. We'll meet next Monday at 6 as a group to make sure that everybody's shells and everything are good to go. Following Monday, after the first day of classes start on the 11th, we'll meet briefly, and then a couple more times, and then we'll kind of go on a couple times a month. All right.
Okay.
I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you.
All right. Stay safe.
All right. Thank you.
Good night,
All right.
everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Nice meeting you, ladies.